Hello, lady. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another Chicago Blackhawks, the Real Hawks Talk podcast here. And we have the Philadelphia Flyers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Philadelphia comes into the United Center. Chicago is 5-0-1 in the last 6 games, 4 points behind Arizona. Philadelphia is 1-3-0. And then in their last 4 games, and 6 points behind Columbus in the second wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. The key players of the game is going to be Sean Couturier with 11 points in his last 9 and 22 points in his last 17. Chicago's key player is going to be Corey Crawford, 5-0-1 with a .948 save percentage and a 1.70 goals against. Some other players to look at there is Kane, 51 points in the last 30 games. DeBrincat, 17 points in the last 14 games. James Van Riemsdyk at 14 points in the past 12 games. Gaudreau at 17 points in the last 12 games. Goalies tonight are going to be Corey Crawford and for Philadelphia, Carter Hart. So, yes, I will be doing questions at the end there, Creator. And I appreciate the host. I see that right there. So we'll go ahead and get into the first period. So I decided to change my mind a little bit on how I want to do the, last podcast I did the first 5 minutes, the next 5 minutes after that, then 15 minutes in and 10 minutes. But that's sometimes get a little confusing going into, especially when the action is like today's game. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything. So the first period, I did a lot of that. But towards the end, I kind of slowed down. So I think I'm just going to do a quick overview of the periods as itself. But so just starting out in the first period, early into the first 5 minutes, Hawks turn the puck over. Anisimov makes great hustle to break up the 2-on-1. It was more like a 3-on-0 kind of dealio, and he comes and breaks it up. There was a lot of good chances in the first. Once I go through the first period stats, the shots on goal, especially, it's unbelievable. But the rebound, Hart's giving up some rebounds. We just couldn't cash anything in there. Saad had a good look. Saad had a really good look. He held the puck in for about 15 seconds. He was going around the net, kind of going around, weaving, bobbing in and out of people. And next thing you know, he shoots the puck and it just goes wide. Nothing you could do on that one. Philly was turning there in the beginning was turning the pucks over quite a bit, but then Hawks just couldn't cash anything in. Then towards the end of that early 5 minutes, Philly ends up turning things around and start really putting the pressure on. I'm at this point, I'm like, this game's gonna go south, and it's not gonna be very good. But the 15 to 10 minutes in, Taves misses a pass to Sekura that would have led him to his first goal. Sekura did really good as well. He had a couple opportunities that he didn't cash in this game. But he passes the puck to Sekura, and Taves it was blocked a little bit. So that's one of those things that happened. Philly starts getting their chances there a little bit towards the end. There was a penalty against Gustin Forsling, a holding on Fucurich. I can't say his name. His name's really, really hard to say. Thank God he isn't anything else. PK did pretty well. Camp actually had a breakaway on the shorthanded opportunity, and Hart stopped all these 3 shots that were point blank by Camp, I believe Taves and Saad. Just couldn't cash anything in. But then the action picks up 10:39 into the first period. Eric Gustin scores his 15th of the year. Forsling gets his 6th assist. Taves gets his 42nd assist of the year. But it was a very, very, very fast-paced back-and-forth action. The first period was a little slow at the beginning. There was a lot of stoppages here and there. Crawford made an unbelievable spread eagle save to keep it 1-0. I'm not sure if it was in this period or a little bit later on, but Crawford was sitting on his butt. Just pucks going everywhere, all around him, and there's nothing nothing he could really do. But he made this the sitting kind of he's sitting on his butt, but then he pushes himself up and stops a puck from going in the back of the net, which was really good. But then it was just a matter of time. Corbin Knight comes on the ice and shoots a beautiful top. I'm looking for the word. Up into the I think it was blocker side. I think right there, up into the blocker corner there. He scores his first of the year, assisted by Bailey, his first, and Guttis for his 15th assist of the year. The Hawks D just kind of fell apart after that. Gustafson said at the end of the first period, he had an interview, and he said, we scored that goal, and then we're just kind of back on our heels, and defense didn't play very well. It was all the Hawks the first half of that. And then that goal scores, and just everything kind of goes south from there. Crawford and Hart are making great saves. It was a goaltender battle all the way through. It was amazing. Back and forth contest. But so we'll go ahead and get into the team stats. This is pretty shocking for at least the first period. Chicago had 14 goals, or not 14, 14 shots on goal. My bad. I apologize for that one. Power plays, Chicago didn't have anything. 2 penalty minutes, 55% face-off percentage, 5 block shots, 6 giveaways, and 8 hits. Philadelphia had 16 shots on goal, 0 and 1 on the power plays. I forgot to mention that. Oh, no, I already did. Never mind. No penalty minutes, 45% on the face-off, 5 block shots, 6 giveaways, and 12 hits. So it was, like I said, it was a very fast-paced game. Back and forth, a lot of shots on goal. It was just the game could have easily been 3-3 or 3-4. It was just unbelievable. The goalies were playing out of their mind. You can't really. It's hard to really say which way. Philadelphia had a shot off the goal crossbar that didn't go in. There was just a lot of chances that no one really cashed in. There was a lot of whiffs, just a bunch of other different states. But it was a very exciting first period. If you're looking for a really good game, that was first period was unbelievably crazy. I know that last podcast I showed the videos, but with copyright issues, I just want to kind of back away from all of that. So that's what I'm gonna do. Is not really worry about that. You can always go to NHL.com and look up the goals themselves and any other highlights that are posted up on there. Second period, there was a penalty, and I forgot to write it down. But that was against Philadelphia. Hawks power play just absolutely pitiful. It's just they're not passing they're passing the puck around, not doing anything with it. There's just no shots. I think there was maybe one shot on goal that whole time. It was just back and forth. It was just nothing. I know they ended up I think they gave up one shot on shorthanded, but it's not like the Blackhawks of the old, like how they were scoring the points. They were getting the puck in the net. There's none of that. There was nothing of that at all. And it was just terrible, absolutely terrible. Power play has gone down since the end of at least February. It's just gone completely down the hole. No one's scoring anything. There's no opportunities. There's no one putting the puck towards the net. It's not how it was set up with Taves and Strome sitting there in the middle of the goaltender right there in the center ice and just completely failing themselves. There's just too much passing around the net. They're just relying on too many people to score the puck without just trying to put it in the back of the net. That's what they got to do. They can't pass the puck in the back of the net. They got to shoot it there. So that's something I would like to see out of them going forward. But Gustav Forsling, he made the second period accessible to just a 1-1 tie. No one ended up scoring in the second period, but he made 2 diving saves with his stick. There was one breakaway that was DeBrincat should have passed it forward up the boards. Instead, he passes it rink wide, and it gets picked off. And Forsling makes a great effort coming back and just diving out and stopping it with his stick. Just got all sticks, so there's nothing to worry about there. He made another one. It was more of a 2-on-1 situation, but he came from the back and ended up stopping it. So that second period, all props to Gus's Forsling. Second period, it was time-wise, it was a lot faster game. The game picked up. Not a lot of shots. The Hawks had a lot of shots, not so much Philadelphia. It just Gus Forsling. He was the saver of that second period. Hart, just this guy, within 2 periods already faced 30 shots. He's a rookie, by the way. This guy's a rookie, and I get understand in the last 5 games he's gotten pulled twice, but I could understand that because Philadelphia's their defense is just absolutely horrible. They're about as bad as the Hawks are. It's just he had to make a lot of saves. There was great chances, and he just stopped all of them except that one goal that went in the first period. Let's see what else. Like I said, I'm a huge goalie fan as it is, and I'm a huge Corey Crawford fan. I think goalies are the number 1 key to having a Stanley Cup team. Now with Carter Hart here in Philadelphia, if they can get a good defense around, I think they have the offensive power. I just think the defense is lacking a little bit. If they can get that around him, Philadelphia is going to be pretty good in a couple years. He's a rookie. He's only 20, I think he's 20 years of age. This guy, he's just playing out of his mind. At least in this game, he played out of his freaking mind. And total props to him. He was just really, really good. I mean, even with the Hawks, that being their period, nothing. They couldn't put anything in the back of the net. But we'll get into the second period stats here. Shots on goal were 16-7. Chicago had 16. Philadelphia had 7. Power play. Both teams did not cash in a power play. Both 2-minute penalties. Face-off percentage. Chicago had 46. Philadelphia had 45. Or not. No idea where that cut off at. The mic cut off there. But I said Chicago had 46 on the face-off percentage, and Philadelphia had 54 on the face-off percentage. Chicago's face-off percentage has just plummeted. The first period we had really good face-off percentage, and then the 2 and 3rd period in the last 2 games it hasn't been there. And you can't win games by giving up. You have to win face-offs. There was you'll see at the end, a guy had on Philadelphia had 100% in face-off percentage. And I would just look back to see if he was like a winger that kind of get kicked out. Nope, he's a centerman, and he has 100%. So that doesn't help you. I think he's either in the 3rd or 4th line. That doesn't help you out when your 3rd or 4th line's not winning face-offs. Now, I'm not saying that the 3rd and 4th line didn't do really well. They did. It's just the chances were there and nothing happened. Chicago had 8 block shots. Philadelphia had 12 giveaways. Chicago had 10. Philadelphia had 8. Hits were 14-20. Chicago had 14. Philadelphia had 20. Now, getting into the 3rd period, right off the bat, DeBrincat has a beautiful rink-wide pass to him, and he just glimpses it off the post. He had heartbeat, all that other good stuff. He had him there, and it just nothing going. And what ends up killing the Hawks are turnovers. James Van Riemsdyk comes in from the right. If you're looking from Corey Crawford's point of view, out across to center ice from the right face-off dot there, at the very edge of that red circle, James Van Riemsdyk has a beautiful backhand, which the shot really shouldn't have. It wasn't a heavy shot or a hard shot. It's something Crawford could have stopped, but he was at that moment screened right in front of him, and he didn't see that come in until very late, and he couldn't get over to get it. So James Van Riemsdyk with 9:51 into the third period scores his 26th of the year. Guadjuru gets his 41st of the year, and that weird name I can't frickin' say has his 44th assist of the year. Like I said, Crawford was screened, nothing he could do. It was from a backhand. It was a beauty of a goal as it was. It's just one of those things that in both goals that Crawford gave up, he was screened. There was nothing he could do about it. And I'm not going to blame him for that. I wish he would have, been in position a little bit better, but I believe it beat him. It beat him blocker side, but it wasn't high blocker. It was like he kind of gave up a little bit there to his right. And sorry for that face. My microphone likes to be a bit of a stingy one and likes to cut out, and so that's why that was there. Then Shea Gustafsson has a hooking call on Brandon Saad. Still terrible power play. They didn't even get a shot. I don't think they got a shot on net. They want to sit there and pass the puck around. No, you're in a desperate situation. That was 11:08 into the third period. So you have less than 5 minutes. No, not less than 5 minutes. My bad. You still have a little bit less than half of the third period. And you got to put the puck on net. And what do? You go around the boards with it, and you pass it to the people that are going to put it in the back of the net. In this situation, it's not about the people that are going to put it in the back of the net. It's about getting to someone they're not going to expect to put in the back of the net. And it's just absolute terrible power play. So this is where I get a little salty here. So Patrick Kane shoots the puck. It hits a Philadelphia Flyer in the face. He goes down. Okay, the puck's still live. I think Jonathan Toews shoots the puck. Hart makes the stop. The puck is still live. Okay, and I've seen this plenty of times. This guy is down on the ice. The puck is still alive, and they blow the whistle. I have not seen one game where a guy has been down on the ice in their defensive zone, and the attacking team has the puck where they have ever blown the whistle. Right then and there, that is probably the worst call I've seen in a long time. I was absolutely salty about it. I was pissed. It's done and over with. The Hawks had their opportunities, and they just couldn't put anything in the back of the net. And Sean Couturier puts in an empty netter. It was like with less than a minute left. His 31 of the year. Guadjuru gets his 59 assists of the year. Lindholm gets his 16th assist of the year. They just couldn't finish. Hart was playing out of his mind. He's the sole reason why the Hawks ended up losing, why Philadelphia even won. 4 points out. The defenseman failed them in the first period. If it wasn't for that first period, the game might have been 1-1 going into overtime. But that's something that we would have never known. It was just in the power play. They've scored one out of the last, I think it's got to be at least 22, 25. That's something, if they're going to win games, they have to do that. So team stats, in the third period at least, Chicago had 11 shots on goal. Philadelphia only had 5. Out of the whole game, shots on goal were 41 to 28. Chicago had 41 shots on goal and only put 1 in the back of the net. That's a goaltender win right there. They just a goaltender and defense. Now I said that I blame the Flyers defense for being god awful, and they were. But the Hawks just couldn't finish the opportunities they had. Now I'm not saying Philadelphia didn't have their opportunities that they didn't cash in, because they had Hartman had a couple that were just laying there. The puck was laying there and he whiffs on it. I'm not saying that, it was just the Hawks had the opportunities, they just couldn't cash in on them. They just couldn't do it. Face-off percentage was 46-45. Yet again, the Hawks failing on the power or on the face-off dot again. That's not going to help you win games, especially if you're in the offensive zone and you can't win a face-off. You're not going to win any games, or even in a defensive, manner. You have to win those. You have to win those, and they're not. I mean, Jonathan Taves not even up there in face-off percentage. With the last couple of games, he hasn't even been there. It's been all, been different people who yet probably haven't taken a lot of face-off, but he's the guy that you want to take the face-offs, and he hasn't been able to do that. Penalty minutes, Chicago only had 2, Philadelphia had 4. Hits, Chicago had 17, Philadelphia had 29. Block shots, Chicago had 11, Philadelphia had 18, and giveaways were equal. I wish that I could see the stats for NHL. The NHL.com does not show me the takeaways. They show me the takeaways for the first, second period, but not the third period and overall. So I only have giveaways. So giveaways were even. I think Philadelphia had the edge on takeaways. They took away a couple opportunities that we couldn't have. And now we're going back in the ways that the Chicago was. We're going to go on to team leaders here. Time on ice, Patrick Kane had 33 minutes. That's a lot for a forward. I know he's been doing that all year. His pizzazz, his deeks and dangles just haven't been there. And I know that teams are going, all right, you got to stop that guy. If we stop that guy, we have a good opportunity. But that still leaves you with DeBrincat. He hasn't done anything. Strome hasn't done anything lately. Taves hasn't done anything lately. Saad hasn't done anything lately. And, you're looking for those other people that, the household kind of names there that have been pushing you throughout the year to get to at least this kind of spot. It just hasn't been, up there. Shots on goal, Taves and Gustafsson both had 5 shots. I understand that Taves had a lot of shots in this game. He just couldn't cash anything in. Gustafsson's the only one for the Blackhawks to score. I like seeing the defensemen in here kind of shoot, and, they're getting those opportunities. But the thing is, there hasn't been a lot of people towards the net, and that's been a big issue. There's still, after this game, there's still 9 games left. Every game, there we go. Mike finally wants to kick back in. With 9 games left, every game is important, and they're not doing that. Hits, Seabrook had 5, Hag had 8, blocks, Mismov had 3, Sanhem had 3, Camp in the faceoff percentage was 57, and yet Voron had 100%. 100% in the faceoff dot. You can't let that happen. Even if he's the third or fourth line forward, you can't let that happen. It's just simple as that. You can't let that happen. Crawford had 25 saves with, I believe, 28 shots against for a .926 save percentage, 2 goals against, an empty netter. Carter Hart had 40 shots against, 41 saves, with a .976 save percentage with 1 goal against. Going into the 3 stars, actually, Carter Hart is number 1, James Van Riemsdyk's number 2, and Corey Crawford is number 3. And I don't argue with that list at all. Crawford facing 28 shots and giving up 2. It's not like a lot. Not those goals were his fault, especially the 1 goal given up on the short or on the empty netter, which really doesn't count. You can't blame him. By the way, so it's very difficult for him. I mean, I agree with the list, as what I'm saying. I agree with it. I don't really see anything wrong with that. I mean, Corey Crawford has only been since he's been back, really the stable rock. I mean, there's only been a couple that I would say have been a stable rock. But right now, in this week, Corey Crawford has been the only stable rock that there has been. Kane's not producing like he has been. I understand that he produced in the last game against Vancouver, but there's not too much going on there. So looking in the playoff spot, Colorado beats Dallas and Arizona lost to Florida. So Colorado jumps Arizona, so they're in the second wild card spot. Hawks are still 4 points 4 points back from that second wild card spot. But the next 3 games we're looking at: Saturday at Colorado, Sunday, Colorado comes to Chicago. Then we play Arizona Tuesday. So those 3 games are very important. Being 4 points back, if we win those next 2 games, and Arizona ends up losing 2 games or whatever their case may be, we're right there in the running for things. But that's 6 points that we need. I really wish we would have taken all 8 points if we could have taken it out, but we lost to Philadelphia. And I understand that I said if we're going to lose a game, it's going to be against Philadelphia, but that's 2 games in a row we've lost. And I understand we took 1 point from Vancouver, but that's just something that I don't want to see. I wish we would have at least gotten a point with Philadelphia, but it's just one of those things that happen. Just going over the game review itself, it was a tough pill to swallow, really. Just the chances were there. We couldn't put the puck in the back of the net. With 41 shots on goal, you wish another one would have trickled in, especially against a rookie goaltender. That's why I say Hart's gonna be a good. He's gonna be a good goaltender when he gets the full experience and all that. It's just that the Hawks their opportunities were there and they just couldn't cash anything in. Hart was down early a lot of the times, and I really wish I would have seen more pucks up in the air. The stick defense from the Hawks was pretty decent. They got, especially in the second period, they got the sticks in the lanes. I would say so much that Philadelphia did as well, but the Hawks' shot selection wasn't really there. I say shoot the puck on net. Sometimes good things are going to happen, and they did. But really, reality is that their shots on goal should have been a lot more, especially with 2 penalties. I think that's the thing that irritates me out of all of it. You have 2 penalties, 2 power plays, and you can't cash in one, and you get maybe 2 or 3 shots on goal. That's just something that's not acceptable. That's something that needs to be changed. If they want to win the playoffs, that's where they got to go. They have to make that push to put the puck on the net. They have to. It's simple as that. I mean, simplify your game, and they haven't done that. They need to simplify the game. That's just something they haven't done is simplify the game. That's just something where I think they need to go. Corey Crawford yet again. I mean, I know we're gonna see Cam Ward here probably Sunday, or maybe he's gonna make a change and put him in Saturday. I don't quite know where we're going with, but you can't. It's really hard to fault a goaltender who's giving up less than 2 goals a game. Like I said this in the last podcast, 2 goals against, and you lose a game, that's on the offense. 3 goals against, that's on the defense and the goaltender. 2 goals against, and I understand the score was 3-1, but there was 1 empty net goal, so there's no, obviously no goaltender to make a save. Yeah. Beginning of the year, it was, if we're going to win a game, we're going to win a game 5-4. If we're going to lose a game, it's going to be 7-6. Okay? We finally get a goaltender who's going to stop pucks, who's going to soak pucks up. We're finally playing defense, but where's the offense? What has changed so much where you're not scoring those goals? You're not giving your you're not giving yourselves an opportunity to win if you score only one goal a game. You can't tell me you expect a goaltender to have a shutout like he did in Montreal. It's not. It's just not going to be a thing. You know, talking and with other people, and you look at the standings. You're like, you're only 4 points back. It's a very good opportunity here. These 3 games that are coming up are very good opportunities to finally come back and make a real good push towards the play. But you got to win 3 games, and you have to score more than 1 goal. You have to, this is 2 games in a row where you score the first freaking goal and you end up losing. There's got to be a push towards something. There's got to be something. There's got to be a push, right as soon as that push for the playoffs came along. They really pushed for it. They really did. And they were on that beautiful 5-game winning streak. And it ends, and it just seems they get on these streaks of really long, excessive streaks, and then they just can't catch themselves back up, or they'll win 1 game, lose 3 games. Win 2 games, lose 4 games. They're not catching themselves, and it's just a little bit irritating. I think it's a decent enough team to at least be in the playoffs. Do I really think them as a Stanley Cup contender at this point? No, especially with like Tampa Bay, with the Winnipeg, with the Calgary. I don't think that's a reality. And it kind of come to your sense as a fan, you always think every year your team's gonna win, but it's coming down. You have 9 games left. It's coming down to where you have to look at it realistically. What can be made? What can be different to succeed? And I know when the season's over, I'll only be doing like podcasts once a week, just kind of a review over the year. It's going to be a long time until that comes, but it's just there's going to be a lot more discussions, just a lot more fun facts. If anything happens trade wise, anything like that, that'll be in a weekly review. All that other good stuff, accusation or not accusations, but if they acquire people, if they they release people, free agency, all that stuff's gonna be coming up. My thing is I just don't want them to have a fire sale like they did after the 16 season. They, you come in Nashville. Nashville's a complete underdog. They're not even looked at. You got brackets filled out, and they're not even anywhere near touching anywhere going to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And they do. They go to the Stanley Cup playoffs that year because it's a team that was, underestimated. The Hawks were heavy powered, and they just kind of sputtered out. And it was one of those things that happened. And the next year after that, they go on a fire sale. I found a shirt of mine. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I found a shirt of mine that had from the 15th season, all of the people that won that Stanley Cup. Only 7 people from that team are still there. I believe it was Kane, Taves, Saad. I think Saad was also. So you had Saad. You had Seabrook. You had Seabrook, Keefe. You had Corey Crawford, and there's one more. I can't think of who. It's like I should know this. Oh, Marcus Kruger. My bad, Marcus Kruger. That's 7 people from that 15 season. Now I understand that every year that with money issues, all that other stuff, you can't keep all the people, right? But look at Pittsburgh. I guarantee you, if I look from their first year winning that Stanley Cup and the back-to-back year they won it, I guarantee you they at least have more than 7 people from that team. You can't just have a fire sale after you lose a first-round playoff. That's where we've lost we've lost in the playoffs, and then you do a fire sale. The first round, okay, you lose. It happens. Sometimes upset happens. It happens everywhere. It just ended up being in a sweep. And, I understand that you lose in a sweep, but you can't just all of a sudden up and get rid of everyone, get rid of all your young guys, and send them elsewhere. You can't expect, especially your veteran guys. I mean, I understand that you don't have the Hossa. He's out. You don't have the Bickle. You don't have, the people that were kind of making a difference. But, they're older people. But, like, the Van Riemsdyk, the other people that were there, a part of the team, you can't just say, you know what, you're young, we don't need you. We'll just worry about it. But those are your future. That's your future. And you can't just up and push everyone away. I mean, you had Scott Darling, who would have been, Corey Crawford, up there with the Corey Crawford. And I understand you have a goalie in Colin Delia. You can't just let that all push away, just poof and let it go. You can't get rid of. I understand you have your core players, but really, who are the core players? If you look at the core players, are going to be Taves, Kane, Seabrook, Keefe, and Crawford. Those are your core players that you have. Okay, Joe Quenneville never really had Patrick Kane on the first line. Okay, and I get it, understand it. You normally had the Taves, you had. I'm not sure, but you never really had him up there, and that's fine. You had the Panarin, you had all that, you had that chemistry going on. You have Kane with the Brinket, then you bring Strome in. Strome plays great with the Brinket. Okay, then you have him with Perlini. I understand you try to put Kane on the ice more because he's your number one go-to score goaler. He scores goals, he gets points, and that can tell with 100 points. But he's kind of been, I think he's tired. You have a forward at least, play excessively over 20 minutes every game, almost every game, except when they're on their win streak. He doesn't play as much because other people are scoring goals. But he's starting to get tired. He's older, and you can't rely so much on him to do all that for you. It's a long season, and not everyone all the time can just always keep up that push. And we're missing that. We're missing that push, and we're not getting that from the younger people. We're getting that from the veterans a little bit, but not so much the younger people. The younger people should have all the energy to be going in there. And what I really think it is that we have too many goal scorers, not enough grinders. Taves is a playmaker. He'll get in front of the net. Strome, he'll get in front of the net. Okay, you have a Chris Kunitz who plays every 3 games, every 4 games, whatever the case may be. He's old. Get rid of him. Get rid of the old people. Get rid of the older people. I don't care if we go into a season and our old people consist of Corey Crawford, Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, Seabrook, or Keefe. I don't care. Let them be the older people. Let them be up there in the 30s. We don't need a Chris Kunitz. He has done absolutely nothing for him. There's a reason Pittsburgh got rid of him. He isn't doing anything for them, so they got rid of him. So why do you pick up that guy? If you pick up a guy, why not use him? He's old. Stop using him. He's not helping us out. Saad is more of that grinder power forward. He has been doing well. I just think it's a lack of defense. Really, it comes down to a lack of defense. Forsling played a great game tonight. All that other good stuff. It's just been a very, very, very lack of everything with all of them. Just like I said, it's another terrible effort. Just couldn't cash anything in. You look at the reviews, you may have a different perspective on how everything should work out. And if you do, don't be afraid down in the comments or whatever. Say, hey, this is what I think, and it's a discussion. I would like to have a discussion. I would like to understand other people's point of views, how everyone else thinks it should be done. I'm not opposed to that. This is just my thoughts. as a fan, as what I'm watching, what I'm seeing, what I think should be a little different. I'm not saying that I'm right, and I'm not. I mean, I'm not in that position to make, you know, that kind of money, or how to control a team that well. And I don't know any of that, but what I have seen, eh, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna put it on the coaching staff, because Jeremy Colleton and his staff has done really well as far as get the team back into a fighting position. I don't know if with Joel Quenneville, I don't think they would have been anywhere near where they would have been. I just think that his time was there and it's gone. You need a new person in the helm, and it's his first year. It comes halfway through, so there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I just don't think that this year it's gonna be done with losing. I mean, I think my mind would have been a little different if we would have bring in at least 2 points or a point out of this. It's only 4 points, but that's a pretty big mountain to climb. You're relying on Minnesota, Colorado, and Arizona just to plummet. And you just win enough games to get in, and you're expecting them to plummet. It's going to be hard. It really is. It's one of those things you just kind of have to work with. It's going to be different. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very exciting. Very exciting last 9 games. It's really going to, I have all this hope and all this other things. I tell my dad I have all this hope, and he tells me you're gonna be in the fetal position crying, and but that's the part of being a fan, is you go through those years of success, and I understand I came in these years early of success. I mean, I came right as they won 2013. I'm not saying that I came in and watched them, when they were in the playoffs. I watched them after the lockout. I mean, I watched that very first game. Well, not the very first game, but that point streak they were on. I watched, I believe, the last 10 of those point streaks, because hockey was never introduced to me until I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and watch this. So you can tell me that I'm a fair weather fan, I'm not a tie-hard fan, or whatever the case may be. But I remember when they were on that run, and the couch, we used to have a couch upstairs. I mean, we still have a couch upstairs, but the couch that we had upstairs had a little ottoman kind of thing, a little rolly thing. It was a nice big old pad thing. I would sit at the edge of that pad. I would probably be at least 5 to 7 feet away from the our TV, and I would be just glued right to the TV. I wouldn't worry about anything else. Dinner's ready. You want to eat some dinner? No, I'm focused on this game. I don't want to get my jersey. I'll wait until after the first or second period, so I don't, I can take my jersey off so I don't get it, ruined. I'm sitting down, I'm fully engaged in everything, and absolutely awesome. We win. I was like, oh man, it's first year they win. That's awesome. You go on the next year, they lose. You're like, oh, it was a heartbreaker. And the year after that, and the year after, in 2015, after the 14 with the 15 season, I was like, man, it's just crazy, because you look back and, I mean, who were your 2 people that are going to the playoffs in those couple years? It was either LA or it was Chicago. And that was just a great rivalry as it was, because those were intense Western Conference Finals. They were awesome, great. They always came down towards near the end of these games, 6 or 7. But in 15, I missed a little bit of the Western Conference. I missed the end portion of the Western Conference Finals, and I missed all of Stanley Cup except Game 6, because I was military duty. I was where was I at? Was I in Louisiana? No, I wasn't in Louisiana. Where was I? I was in California. That's where I was. I was in California, in Fort Irwin, and we weren't supposed to have our phones, and every night I would sneak my phone, and I'd stay up until my dad would let me know, what happened with the Hawks and all this and that. That day, or that game 6, I fly back into Chicago. Go to my unit, Indiana, and it's about an hour, not an hour, I'd say about a 45-minute drive from my reserve unit all the way down to my house. And we flew in, I believe that game was at 7 or 6:30. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite fully remember. But I remember I missed 1 minute of that game. And guess where I was? I took my blouse off. I still had my pants on, my ACU pants, and I had my black Patrick Kane jersey on with my hat sitting there glued in to what's going on, and we win that, and it was a great experience that I had. And it's an experience that some people will never get, and it just will always be there for you to remember. Even if you don't remember every single detail, you remember that feeling of you want it again. It's a relief. It's like you clinch so hard, you waste all this energy on just watching a game that you're not even in, and you end up winning, and it feels like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders, and it's a weird feeling, but it's the greatest feeling in the world. I don't know what it is, but it's a magical thing that happens. And but that's what cheering for a team's all about. Yes, you're not there playing for them, right? You're not there, you're not playing, you're not exerting that energy. And I understand down there they probably feel like 1,000 times better as you do as a fan. But as a fan, you're the sole reason why they play. You go through you go through younger as a kid, and sometimes you'll play for your parents, but you don't play for the people. You don't play for the fans. You care less how many people are watching you. And I understand that what I'm saying is that professional players, when they get to that level, yes, they're playing for their jobs, but they're also playing for the people that support them. And no team is gonna be good. They may have all the talent in the world, but no team really is good until they have that fan base around them. And that those years, Chicago wins three cups in 6 years, and at that point that was like unheard of. In the new era, that was just unheard of. That was the spec. They were a dynasty. They were this, they were that, they were great. They were on top. They were the most hated team. Everyone hated them, blah blah blah. And you get that because they built a dynasty, and we're just now coming into the back half of that dynasty, the downfall a little bit to it. But then you had to have Pittsburgh, who ones up us and wins back-to-back games, back-to-back Stanley Cups. But even at that, they play for the fans, and the fans are the sole reason why these players get paid millions of dollars, why these contracts, because the people pay to see these players. That's the sole reason why these people get paid all this money. Earlier back in the day, they played sports, yeah, for entertainment, but that was just the sports weren't the thing. It wasn't really televised. You hear on the radio, but not a lot of people got. So there wasn't a lot of revenue that came in. But now you have it on TV, radio. You stream it, do whatever. You go to the game, all that. So it's a bigger picture, and the players, this is their job, and that's why they got paid. But the reason it's their job is because people watch them. It's with anything in entertainment, if no one watches it, you're not going to get paid much for it. You're not going to get paid at all. But it's a tough pill to swallow, I should say. Yeah, there's 9 games left. It's just right now it's a very tough pill to swallow. I just don't think I'm realistically looking at it. It's possible but highly doubtful is what I should say. It's a very good chance. There's things that if all the pieces fall together, it could happen. I mean, it happened with the Colts this year. I'm a big Colts fan. They lose like the first 5 games. They went 1-5, right? Not a chance. Not a chance of making the playoffs. I'm like, hey, team sucks again. What are you gonna do about it? And it comes down to the last game of the year. They win the game. And they're in the playoffs. So it could come down to that last game. No one has clinched that. Okay. No, no one has clinched that way. That second wild card spot, and there's nothing much you could do about it. I mean, it's all, people say you have to worry about yourselves, and that's what they were doing that. Now they're not. I think they're catching a little bit of scoreboard bug a little bit. They're kind of worried about the scoreboard. Well, if you're worried about the freaking scoreboard, how about you score some freaking goals? Take care of yourselves first. Go home, then look at the scoreboard. All right? 4 points back. You could be only 2 points back. Or 3 points back. But no, you go on and you blow it to Philly. I'm not saying Philly's a bad team. Because they were bad at the beginning of the year just like the Hawks are. Are they 6 points out of their playoff spot? Yes. You're 4 points. So, who do you take in that game? Who would you take? I'm taking the team that's only 4 points back. But you have to play like it. I give you all the statistics and I say they have 41 shots on goal. You think they should win the game? Yes. Montreal had 38 shots on goal and they didn't win their game. It's all about who can put the puck in the back of the net. Who can find that seam or that crease or that one bounce that's going to beat the goaltender. Hawks only had one of those. It's a tough situation. It's a very tough situation. But that's going to leave my rant for the day, for the night to be over with. I will probably get a podcast out after the Saturday game against Colorado, and I may do the weekly stats with that as well. Just because Sunday, my lovely, beautiful girlfriend decided that she was going to get me VIP tickets to the Blackhawks game Sunday. So, we'll be out. I'll be touring the facility and skate on the practice ice, and I'll get a lot of those pictures up. Those pictures will go up on Facebook. Those pictures will go up on my Twitter. All the other stuff, so you guys can see all that other good stuff. But the game starts at 7:30. I'm not gonna get home till really late, and depending on how the game goes, being over 21, kind of do your own thing a little bit. But that Monday night, I will start that podcast up of the Colorado game and get all my statistics down, what my thoughts and process of that game were. But so Saturday will be the next podcast, probably 30 minutes after, like I said, normally about 30 minutes after the game is over, that I will do that. But if you enjoy the podcast, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget, share it out to your friends. I'm trying to get my name out there a little bit. It's more of a practice why I'm doing this, because I'm going to school for it. Tell me what I do wrong. What would you like to see more of? Like I said, I didn't do the videos like I did last podcast. That was just because copyright issues, and I just don't feel like dealing with all that stuff. So I just kind of read it off and kind of talk my way through it. All that other good stuff. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and I'll hopefully catch you in Saturday's podcast.